Horror Story. The Abandoned House, Part 1. Shadows of the old manor. The night had a peculiar silence. The town of Ashbury was tucked away in a valley surrounded by dense, dark forests. Most of the villagers had avoided the old manor on the hill for decades. Rumors whispered through generations, tales of strange noises, shadows moving through the windows, and an eerie presence that seemed alive. It was on a particularly cold November evening that Ravi, a young urban explorer, arrived in Ashbury. Armed with a flashlight and a voice recorder, he had come to document abandoned places for his online channel. His curiosity was insatiable, but even he felt a chill as he looked at the decrepit structure from the foot of the hill. The manor was enormous, its wooden walls rotting, paint peeling, and windows covered with layers of dust and grime. The gate creaked as he pushed it open, the sound echoing through the night. The air smelled of damp wood and decay. Ravi stepped cautiously inside. His flashlight's beam fell upon a grand staircase, its steps weak and covered in dust. As he walked, he noticed old portraits on the walls, faces of stern-looking men and women, their eyes seeming to follow his every move. Suddenly, a faint sound echoed from upstairs, a soft whisper, almost inaudible. Ravi froze, straining to listen. "Hello," he called, his voice trembling slightly. There was no reply, only silence, heavier than before. He moved toward the sound. Each step creaked under his weight. At the end of a long corridor, he found a door slightly ajar, with strange scratch marks on the floor leading inside. Pushing it open revealed a room frozen in time. An old bed covered with a moth-eaten quilt, a broken mirror, and a rocking chair that was slowly moving on its own, though there was no breeze. Ravi's heart pounded. He turned on his voice recorder and whispered, "This is insane. Is someone here?" The air grew colder, and his breath became visible. From the corner of the room, a shadow stretched across the floor, elongating, twisting, taking a humanoid shape. Ravi stepped back, tripping over a loose floorboard. The shadow stopped moving, as if waiting for him. Suddenly, the door slammed shut. The flashlight flickered, and a voice, clear and chilling, echoed from the walls. "You shouldn't have come here." Ravi's instinct screamed to run, but curiosity rooted him to the spot. He noticed an old diary on the nightstand, pages yellowed and brittle. As he flipped it open, the handwriting seemed almost alive, swirling on the page. The diary belonged to Margaret, a young woman who once lived in the manor. The entries detailed strange occurrences, objects moving, whispers in the dark, and sightings of shadowy figures. The final entry, scrawled in frantic handwriting, read, "The house. It eats the living. It watches. It waits. If you are reading this, it's too late." Ravi swallowed hard. His flashlight went out completely, plunging him into total darkness. And in the silence that followed, the whisper came again, closer, colder. "You belong to us now." He fumbled for his flashlight, finally turning it back on. But the room had changed. The rocking chair was gone. In its place, a figure stood, a woman in a tattered dress, face obscured by long, dark hair, eyes glowing faintly red. Ravi couldn't scream. His body refused to obey. The diary slipped from his hands and landed open on the floor, pages fluttering as if blown by an unseen wind. He realized then the house was alive, and it had been waiting for him. Asterisk. Asterisk horror story. The Abandoned House Part 2. Echoes in the hallway. Avi's heart pounded so fiercely he thought it might burst through his chest. The figure in the tattered dress didn't move, its glowing eyes fixed on him, piercing the darkness like fiery daggers. Every instinct in him screamed to run, but the fear that rooted him in place was unlike anything he had ever felt. The air in the room had grown colder, every breath a struggle, and the walls seemed to be closing in, breathing with a life of their own. Asterisk, he finally managed to whisper, Who are you?" His voice barely carried, swallowed immediately by the oppressive darkness. Asterisk, the figure tilted its head slowly. Then, in a voice like the grinding of old wood, it said, Asterisk, you've seen us. Now you belong here. Asterisk, before Ravi could respond, the floor beneath him groaned. The walls seemed to pulse, and shadows slithered along the edges of the room like living creatures. The diary on the floor began to tremble violently, its pages flipping wildly as if possessed by an unseen hand. Asterisk, Ravi stumbled backward, almost losing his footing. In a desperate attempt to escape, he darted toward the door, but it wouldn't budge. It was as if the house itself had fused the door shut. Every knob, every hinge resisted his frantic tugging. And then the whispering began, hundreds of voices, layered and overlapping, coming from every corner, every wall, even the floor itself. Asterisk, you can't leave. You can't leave. Asterisk, panic surged through him. He grabbed the diary and tried to make sense of it. One page stood out, it wasn't there before. Written in a fresh, almost wet ink were words that seemed to crawl on the paper. Asterisk, follow the hallway. The light will guide you, but beware of the rooms. They remember. Asterisk, gathering what little courage he had, Ravi backed toward the hallway. The flashlight flickered, but held long enough to reveal the corridor stretching endlessly before him. The walls were lined with portraits, faces that seemed even more lifelike than before, mouths slightly open as if whispering secrets he couldn't hear. As he walked, the floorboards creaked in rhythm, echoing like footsteps following him. Asterisk, halfway down the hallway, he noticed a faint light seeping from under a door on his left. He approached cautiously. The door opened easily this time, revealing a room bathed in a sickly, pale glow. Inside, there was a grand piano, though many of its keys were broken or missing. The room smelled faintly of decay, mixed with a hint of perfume. Asterisk, then he heard a soft, sorrowful melody, as if someone invisible were playing. Each note was haunting, sending chills racing down his spine. He froze, straining to see the source. The music stopped abruptly. Silence returned, but it was heavier now, pressing down on his chest. Asterisk, suddenly, the shadows in the corners of the room began to move. They stretched across the walls, converging into humanoid shapes, dozens of them. Some had features, some were just black voids, but all were reaching for him. Ravi spun around, trying to run, but the hallway seemed to stretch infinitely behind him, twisting, bending, like a labyrinth designed to trap him forever. Asterisk, in a moment of clarity, he remembered the diary's instructions. He clutched it tightly and began following a faint light at the end of the hallway. Every step was agony. The shadows reached out, grasping at his clothes, tugging at his skin, whispering in unison, Asterisk, stay. Stay forever. Join us. Asterisk finally. He reached the source of the light, a small round window at the end of the corridor. Moonlight spilling in like a silver blade. Relief surged through him. He pressed himself against the wall, hoping it might be an exit. But as he looked closer, the light revealed scratches etched into the walls, hand-sized and deep, leading directly to him. Asterisk, the shadows were closing in faster now, merging into a single, towering figure. Its face was distorted, a mix of every portrait he had seen in the manor, their eyes bleeding darkness. It whispered his name over and over, in voices that weren't there. Asterisk Ravi. Ravi, asterisk, in a desperate move. He slammed the diary against the figure. For a moment, it paused, recoiling as if burnt. The shadows screamed, a sound that rattled his bones, and then, suddenly, they vanished. The hallway returned to its empty silence, save for the faint echo of whispers fading into the darkness. Asterisk Ravi collapsed against the wall, shaking. The diary slipped from his hands, its pages still fluttering violently. One page revealed a map, a sketch of the manor, with several rooms marked, each labeled with warnings. Asterisk, do not enter the attic. Do not open the cellar. Do not follow the dining room. Only the east wing may be safe. For now. Asterisk, he realized then that the manor was not just abandoned, it was alive, sentient, and aware of him. Every step he had taken, every room he had entered, had been testing him, and now he understood. If he wanted to survive, he would have to navigate the manor according to its rules, or become part of it forever. Asterisk, with trembling hands, he rose, clutching the diary and flashlight. He turned toward the east wing, each step measured, listening for the whispers that might return at any moment. Behind him, the manor seemed to sigh a slow, deliberate exhale, as if the house itself were watching, waiting, and learning from. His fear, asterisk, the night was far from over, and the manor's secrets were only beginning to unfold. Part 2, Key Points for Voice Generation. YTUs. Hallway scene with endless corridor, creepy piano room with spectral music, asterisk shadows merging into terrifying figure. Diary map reveals rules of the manor. Cliffhanger. Ravi heading to East Wing, manor alive. Asterisk horror story. The abandoned house, part 3. The East Wing secrets. Rave's hands shook as he stepped cautiously into the East Wing of the manor. The corridor here was narrower, darker, and colder than anything he had experienced before. The air felt thick, almost viscous, and with every step he took, it seemed to resist him. Shadows clung to the walls like living things, stretching and recoiling as if aware of his presence. Asterisk, the flashlight flickered repeatedly, but he forced himself forward. The walls of the East Wing were lined with doors, all shut tight, some with strange symbols etched into the wood. They pulsed faintly, as if breathing, and the sound of his own heartbeat was deafening in the oppressive silence. He recalled the diary's warning. Only the East Wing may be safe. For now. Asterisk, the first door on the left was cracked open slightly. A faint yellow glow spilled out. Ravi's curiosity pulled him toward it, despite a rising sense of dread. As he pushed the door open, he was met with a room unlike any other in the manor. It appeared to be a library frozen in time. Dust-covered shelves reached to the ceiling, filled with books whose titles seemed to writhe on the spines when he looked. Too long, asterisk, a large desk sat in the center, a single candle burning with a flame that didn't flicker. On it lay an open journal, different from the diary he carried. The handwriting was elegant, almost too perfect, and the pages were filled with sketches of rooms, strange symbols, and detailed notes about rituals and the inhabitants of the house. Asterisk, as he read. A chill ran down his spine. The journal belonged to Alina, the original mistress of the manor. Her entries spoke of experiments in summoning shadows, of binding spirits to the house to guard its secrets, and of a terrible mistake that allowed the house to consume its inhabitants. Her final note was frantic. Asterisk, the house is awake. It listens. It learns. Do not trust your eyes. Do not trust your ears. If someone enters, they will either become part of it or be devoured by it. The East Wing is the only sanctuary left, for now. Asterisk. Ravi felt a sense of urgency. He couldn't stay in the library, yet he needed answers. The East Wing seemed to stretch further than it should, hallways bending impossibly, doors leading to places that defied the manor's layout. As he walked, whispers returned softer this time, but insidious. They weren't just threats. They were coaxing, almost gentle, luring him towards certain doors. Asterisk. One door, in particular, drew him in. It was set at the very end of the hallway, carved with intricate patterns resembling writhing hands. The whispers here were louder, urgent. Asterisk. Open, discover, understand. Asterisk. Ravi's hand trembled as he turned the knob. The door creaked open, to reveal a grand ballroom eerily preserved. Dust lay thick on the floor, but the chandeliers above gleamed as if recently polished. On the floor were faded footprints, not his own, leading toward a large mirror at the far end. Asterisk. The mirror was different. Its surface seemed to ripple, reflecting not the ballroom, but images of past occupants, frozen in moments of terror, despair, or madness. As Ravi stepped closer, he saw a shadowy figure trapped within the glass, reaching toward him, lips moving silently. The whispers escalated, merging into a cacophony of pleading voices. Asterisk. Ravi recoiled, nearly dropping the diary. He realized the mirror was a prison for souls, and that the house fed on fear, storing it in places like this to sustain itself. His mind raced. He needed a way to understand the house without falling victim to it. He opened the diary again, hoping for guidance. A page fell open to a section he hadn't noticed before. A hand-drawn map showed the East Wing in detail, highlighting secret passages, hidden doors, and rooms the house didn't want him to enter. A note at the bottom read, Asterisk. The house can be tricked, but only by one who understands its desires. Fear binds it, knowledge frees it. If you survive the trials. Asterisk. Ravi's heart pounded. He realized the house wasn't just alive, it was intelligent. Every shadow, every whisper, every flicker of light was a test, probing his mind, his courage, and his understanding of the manor. Failure meant becoming part of the house, trapped forever in its walls. Asterisk. Taking a deep breath, he moved toward the next passage indicated on the map, a narrow staircase descending into darkness. He descended slowly, the air growing colder with every step. At the bottom was a hidden chamber, filled with hundreds of objects. Clocks stopped at different hours, dolls missing eyes, and furniture broken in strange patterns. Asterisk. In the center stood a pedestal, and on it a small, sealed box. Symbols on the box seemed to writhe and twist, almost alive. The diary warned of objects imbued with the house's power. Some could guide him, others could trap him forever. Ravi approached carefully, feeling the weight of centuries pressing down on him. Asterisk, he opened the box, revealing a small, crystalline key. Its surface shimmered unnaturally, and he felt a sudden surge of warmth, a stark contrast to the freezing cold around him. The diary's instructions were clear. Asterisk, use the key to unlock the manor's heart. It will reveal the truth, but only if you are ready. Asterisk, suddenly, the shadows in the room coalesced. This time, they were not just reaching, they were forming shapes. Humanoid but distorted, their faces twisted in silent screams. Ravi clutched the key and shouted, trying to assert his will. Asterisk, I will not become part of you. Asterisk, the shadows hesitated. As if sensing his determination, the diary trembled violently in his hands, and the room shook. The walls seemed to breathe again, faster this time, the whispers now shouting, threatening, pleading. Ravi felt the weight of the house pressing down, trying to crush him. Asterisk, with a final surge of courage, he turned the key toward a hidden door revealed behind the pedestal. The lock clicked, and the door swung open to reveal a spiral staircase leading upward. Light spilling from the top, pure, almost blinding. Relief and fear surged together. This could be an exit or a trap. Asterisk, Ravi knew one thing. Whatever awaited him at the top of the spiral staircase would determine his fate. The house had shown him its secrets, its power, and its intelligence. The next step would either free him or seal his doom. Asterisk, with trembling hands and heart pounding like a war drum, he began to ascend the staircase, each step echoing through the manor. The shadows followed, stretching, twisting, whispering promises of fear, power, and oblivion. The diary fell silent, as if holding its breath. Asterisk, and at the top, he saw a door unlike any he had seen before, glowing faintly with the same silver light that had guided him in part 2. Through it, he could hear the faint heartbeat of the house itself, slow and steady, almost alive. He reached for the handle, knowing that beyond this door lay the truth of the manor, and perhaps the fate of everyone who had ever dared to enter. Asterisk, Ravi took a deep breath, steeling himself for what was to come. He turned a handle and pushed. The door opened. Part 3, Key Points for Voice Generation, Why to Use. Asterisk, East Wing, Exploration. Library with Elena's journal. Asterisk, Ballroom with haunted mirror and trapped souls. Asterisk, Diary reveals secret passages and survival rules. Asterisk, Hidden Chamber with magical crystalline key. Asterisk, cliffhanger, spiral staircase, and glowing door leading to Manor's heart. Asterisk, horror story, the abandoned house, part 4. The heart of the manor. Ravi's hand trembled as he gripped the door handle. Beyond it lay a room bathed in a surreal silver light, the same light that had guided him from the East Wing. He stepped cautiously inside, feeling as though each footstep echoed not just in the room, but through the entire manor. The air here was warmer than the rest of the house, yet the oppressive weight of the walls pressed on him, almost sentient in its intent. Asterisk, the room was unlike any other he had seen. The ceiling arched impossibly high, disappearing into shadows, while walls lined with mirrors reflected not just his own image, but infinite variations of himself, some twisted, some already consumed by the house. In the center of the room stood a massive, ornate chest, carved from black wood with silver veins running through it like living arteries. The crystalline key he had found in the east wing pulsed in response, vibrating faintly as if eager to be used. As he approached, the shadows from the east wing began to seep into the room, their forms stretching unnaturally long across the polished floor. They swirled around him, whispering his name, taunting him with voices of loved ones, friends, strangers' voices he knew and voices he didn't. Asterisk Ravi. Come, join us. Asterisk, you cannot leave. Asterisk, the house wants you. Asterisk Ravi took a deep breath, gripping the key tightly. He forced himself to focus, repeating the mantra he had muttered since entering the east wing. Fear binds it. Knowledge frees it. The shadows recoiled slightly, but the whispers persisted, growing louder, merging into a deafening chorus. Asterisk, he placed the key into the chest. The moment it touched the lock, the room shuddered violently. Mirrors cracked, silver light fractured, and a sound like 1,000 screams filled the air. The chest slowly opened, revealing its contents, a single blackened heart pulsing faintly, suspended in a silver cage of light. Asterisk Ravi understood instantly the house's heart, the source of its life and power. It was alive, sentient, and aware of him. The shadows surged toward the heart, and with a horrifying clarity, Ravi realized they weren't just spirits, they were fragments of the house itself, guardians of its core. Asterisk, he reached for the heart, but the shadows formed a barrier. One figure stepped forward, a humanoid shape, taller than any man, its features constantly shifting, a mask of every face from the manner's portraits. Its voice was low and rumbling. Asterisk, you are not ready. No one is. Leave now and survive. Or touch the heart and become one with us. Asterisk Ravi's mind raced. The diary had warned him, but he had hoped he could rely on courage alone. Now, he realized the house required more than courage, required understanding, strategy, and resolve. He needed to confront the shadows, not with force, but with insight. Asterisk, he remembered Elena's journal, the passages about the house's desires. It craved fear, but it also respected knowledge and those who could navigate its logic. Whispering to himself, Ravi began analyzing the patterns. Each shadow seemed to respond to hesitation, to panic, to uncertainty. The moment he moved deliberately, slowly, refusing to show fear, the shadows paused. Asterisk, you cannot escape, the tall figure hissed. You will become us. Asterisk, I am not afraid, Ravi said aloud, his voice stronger than he expected. I understand you. Asterisk, the shadows recoiled slightly. For the first time, Ravi felt he had some control. He stepped closer to the heart, focusing entirely on the crystalline key, its warmth grounding him. The chest pulsed with light in response, as if acknowledging his understanding. Asterisk, suddenly, the room shifted violently. Mirrors fractured further, and he saw glimpses of past victims, trapped inside the walls, their eyes pleading. The whispers became a storm, voices overlapping in frantic chaos. Asterisk, join us, join us, join us. Asterisk, Ravi forced himself to ignore them. He held the heart in his hands, feeling its pulse synchronizing with his own heartbeat. The warmth was almost comforting, but he sensed the danger it would consume him if he faltered. Asterisk, the tall shadow advanced. It moved unnaturally fast now. Tendrils of darkness curling around its body like snakes, It tried to grab the heart. Ravi stepped back, the key in his other hand glowing fiercely. He remembered the diary's cryptic warning. The key unlocks not the door, but the soul. He raised the key above the heart and whispered the words he didn't fully understand, hoping the house would recognize his intent. I am not yours. I am myself. The room exploded in light. Shadows screamed, their forms unraveling like smoke caught in a storm. The heart glowed brighter, lifting from the pedestal as if acknowledging Ravi's courage and understanding. For a brief moment, everything was silent. Then, the house seemed to sigh low, heavy exhale that shook the mirrors and rattled the floor. Ravi realized the house was assessing him, testing him one final time. The tall shadow screamed in frustration, a sound that echoed through the entire manor. It was not defeated, but it had retreated slightly, acknowledging Ravi's success. Without surrendering entirely, Ravi knew this was not the end, but a temporary reprieve. He placed the heart back carefully in its pedestal, watching as it pulsed steadily, the silver light stabilizing the room. The shadows remained, lurking, but they no longer attacked. They were watchers now, waiting, curious rather than hostile. C turned to leave, but noticed something he hadn't before. Hidden spiral staircase leading further up, beyond the room's high ceilings. It radiated a soft, almost beckoning glow. From the journals and diary, Ravi understood this might be the final level, the place where the house's ultimate secret lay. As he ascended the staircase, each step seemed to pull at his memories, his fears, and his very sense of reality. Whispers followed him, but now there were different questions, challenges, fragments of thoughts from those who had entered before. Why are you here? Do you fear us? Do you wish to escape? Ravi pushed forward, clutching the diary key, repeating his mantra. Fear binds it, knowledge frees it. At the top of the staircase, he reached a door unlike any he had seen before. It was larger, blackened, adorned with symbols that seemed to writhe like living creatures. Silver veins pulsed faintly across the surface, almost like blood flowing through veins. The whispers intensified, merging into a deafening chorus. Enter, or remain forever. Enter, or remain forever. Ravi's hand hovered over the handle. He knew that behind this door lay the ultimate truth of the manor, its creation, its power, and perhaps a way to end its curse. Taking a deep, steadying breath, he turned the handle and pushed the door open. Horror Story. The Abandoned House, Part 5. The ultimate revelation. Ravi's hand trembled as he pushed open the massive black door at the top of the spiral staircase. The silver veins pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat, as if the house itself were aware of his presence. Beyond the door lay a vast chamber, filled with shadows, flickering lights, and an oppressive sense of eternity. The room seemed impossibly large, the walls disappearing into darkness, while the ceiling vanished into an abyss. At the center of the room floated a massive orb of black light, swirling and pulsating like a living entity. The air hummed with energy, vibrating through Ravi's bones. This was at the heart of the manor, the source of its power, the ultimate secret. He realized that the house itself was conscious, feeding on fear, memory, and life. It was a sentient entity, centuries old and infinitely patient. Asterisk as he stepped closer. The orb pulsed brighter, and whispers filled the chamber, louder and clearer than ever. They were no longer just voices, they were memories, fragments of every soul trapped within the manor over the centuries. Faces formed in the shadows, pressing toward him, silently screaming, pleading, warning. Asterisk, do not touch it. Asterisk, you will become one of us. Asterisk, you cannot survive. Asterisk. Ravi felt panic rising, but he clutched the crystalline key and diary tightly. He reminded himself, fear binds it, knowledge frees it. Taking a deep breath, he tried to focus, analyzing the orb. It responded to his fear, to hesitation, but also to intent, curiosity, and understanding. Asterisk. Suddenly, the orb split into hundreds of smaller shadows, each forming a humanoid shape. They advanced slowly, deliberately, surrounding him. One shape, taller than the rest, stepped forward. It was the same shadow he had confronted in the East Wing, but here, it was stronger, more imposing, its presence suffocating. Asterisk, you cannot resist. It said, voice booming, layered with hundreds of whispers. Asterisk, you will join us. Become part of the house forever. Asterisk. Ravi's mind raced. He remembered Elena's journal and the diary's cryptic notes. The house could be tricked. It respected knowledge, patience, and understanding. He had to understand the house's true desire. Does survive, but comprehend it. He spoke aloud, steadying his voice. I know what you are. You are not evil. You are a protector, a keeper, a collector of stories and fear. But I am not afraid. Asterisk. The shadows paused. The orb pulsed violently, as if considering his words. Then, images began to form in the air, memories of the manor's past. A family long dead, whispering in terror as the house consumed their fear. Elena performing rituals to contain the shadows, failing repeatedly. Asterisk. Countless explorers, like him, who had entered, tested, and vanished. Asterisk. Ravi realized the truth. The manor was a living archive of human emotion, memory, and fear. It thrived on it, but it could also be manipulated. If he could confront it, acknowledge its purpose, and remain calm, he might survive, even escape. Asterisk. He approached the orb carefully, holding the key toward it. The shadow surged, but did not strike. The taller figure hissed, Asterisk. Foolish human. You do not understand what you face. Asterisk. I do, Ravi said, his voice unwavering. I understand that you are not my enemy. You are your own being. I respect you, but I will not be consumed. I am not afraid. Asterisk. The orb reacted violently. Shadows twisted, shrieking in a cacophony that shook the chamber. But then, something remarkable happened. The black light began to fold in on itself, shrinking, pulsating in rhythm with Ravi's heartbeat. The shadows paused, watching, almost expectantly. Asterisk. Ravi took a deep breath and placed the crystalline key into the heart of the orb. The moment it touched, the room exploded in light. The shadows screamed on, maliciously, but in frustration and recognition. The orb began to disintegrate, revealing a doorway of pure silver light, floating in the center of the room. Asterisk. He stepped toward it cautiously. The shadows lunged one last time, but the key's power held them back. The silver door shimmered, showing Glimpses of the outside world, the moonlit sky above Ashbury, the forests, the town below. Escape, freedom, life. Ravi hesitated. The house was still alive, still watching, but it had acknowledged him. The orb had been a test not merely of courage, but of understanding. By confronting it calmly, without fear, and recognizing its nature, he had passed. He moved through the silver doorway. A blinding light engulfed him. He felt his body lift, almost as if he were weightless, and then everything went silent. When he opened his eyes, he was standing outside the manor, under the cold night sky. The hill was empty. The manor itself appeared smaller, older, almost fragile, as if it had been waiting for someone like him. The wind carried faint whispers, but they were no longer threatening. They were soft, almost grateful. Ravi looked down at the diary and key. Both were intact, but he realized he no longer needed them. The manor had tested him, revealed its truth, and allowed him to survive. He walked down the hill toward Ashbury, feeling the weight of the experience settle in. But as he reached the edge of the forest, a shadow flickered in the corner of his vision settle, almost imperceptible. The manor's whispers returned, faint, like a reminder. We are always here, watching, waiting. Ravi swallowed hard and kept walking. He knew the house's story was far from over, that others might one day enter, facing the same trials he had. But for now, he was alive, and he carried with him the understanding of the manor's true nature. The night was quiet again. But beneath the surface, the house pulsed, alive and patient, waiting for the next chapter in its endless story. Part 5, Key Points for Voice Generation. Why to use. Manor's ultimate secret, sentient heart. Collector of fear and memory's confrontation with shadow entity, Ravi passes test through understanding and calmness. Not force, climax. Black orb disintegrates. Silver door opens, escape from manor. Subtle hint that it still watches abandoned house or mind. Horror story. The Abandoned House, Part 6. Whispers beyond the hill, Ravi walked down the hill toward Ashbury, the night air biting against his face. The manor behind him appeared smaller now, almost fragile, though he knew better. Every step he took carried the weight of what he had seen the sentient house, its living shadows, the black heart that pulsed with fear and memory, and the trials that had tested him to the edge of his sanity. The town was quiet, the streets deserted. Under the cold November moon, he pulled his coat tighter around him, feeling the lingering chill of the manor's presence. Even though he was outside, a subtle tension remained in the air, like the faint tremor after an earthquake. The whispers that had once driven him nearly mad were gone, replaced by a faint hum, almost imperceptible, that seemed to echo in his own mind. Ravi reached his small rental room at the edge of town and sank into a chair. He set the diary and crystalline key on the table, staring at them as though they were artifacts from another world. The diary pages still held the knowledge he had gained, maps of secret passages, Elena's journal, and cryptic instructions about understanding the house instead of fearing it. Sleep eluded him that night. Every creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind against the window reminded him of the manor. He could almost feel the eyes of the shadows on him, watching, waiting, curious. He knew the house had not forgotten him, and perhaps it never would. Asterix's days passed, and Ravi tried to return to normal life, but he found himself haunted not by the house itself, but by its influence. He began to notice subtle patterns everywhere. The way shadows moved unnaturally, the soft whispers in empty rooms, reflections in mirrors that seemed slightly delayed or wrong. He realized that while he had survived, the house had left a part of itself with him a reminder, a tether. One evening, while reviewing footage he had recorded for his channel, Ravi noticed something unsettling. In frames where he had walked, the hallways of the East Wing, faces appeared in the mirrors that weren't there before, not just reflections, but eyes peering at him, aware of his presence. The shadows in the footage seemed to move on their own, whispering softly in the background, almost unintelligible. He knew then that the manor's story was far from over. It thrived on curiosity, on human presence, on fear, and he had been its willing participant. The diary had saved him, yes, but it had also given him knowledge, and knowledge was dangerous in the wrong hands. Weeks later, Ravi decided to document his experience in detail, not for fame, but as a warning. He edited the videos carefully, stripping out anything that might summon the house's attention again, but leaving enough to convey the horror, the intelligence, and the sentience of the manor. He published the series anonymously, wary of anyone who might be tempted to explore Ashbury's hill. But one night, as he was reviewing his own footage for the 100th time, he noticed something he hadn't seen before, a faint figure standing at the edge of the manor's hill in the reflection of his computer screen. It was small, almost childlike, cloaked in shadows. It watched him silently, waiting. And when he looked directly at the footage, the figure vanished. Ravi's heart skipped a beat. He realized the manor's reach extended further than he could have imagined. It did not only exist on the hill, it existed in the minds of those who had seen it, those who had survived it. Even his warnings might not be enough to prevent the next explorer from succumbing to curiosity. In the weeks that followed, Ravi became hyper-aware of every shadow, every whisper, and every fleeting reflection. He often walked past mirrors slowly, watching for delays, distortions, anything that might indicate the manor's lingering presence. And sometimes, late at night, he would hear a soft voice calling his name, distant but unmistakable. Ravi. We remember you. He shivered, not in fear, but in recognition. The house had acknowledged him. It had tested him, and it had let him go, but only partially. A fragment of its essence remained, subtle, patient, waiting for the next curious soul to climb the hill. Months later, the manor's hill was visited by new explorers, curious teenagers, thrill-seekers, and urban adventurers drawn by rumors and online videos. The structure appeared abandoned, quiet, inviting. Shadows stretched across the walls, and silver veins pulsed faintly beneath the rotting wood. Those who approached felt an inexplicable chill, a tug at their curiosity, and a whisper in the wind, enter, if you dare. Ravi watched from afar, knowing he could never intervene directly, yet feeling the pull of responsibility. He had seen the heart of the manor, survived the trials, and uncovered its ultimate secret. But the house would endure, patient as ever, gathering stories, memories, and fear for centuries to come. And somewhere deep inside, He felt it an echo, a reminder, a whisper of the manor's sentience. Asterisk, we are always here, waiting, watching, learning. Asterisk, Ravi turned away, his reflection in the darkened window catching his eyes. He was free, yet forever connected, a witness to a horror that transcended time. The abandoned house had revealed itself to him, and, through him, it would continue to reach out, eternally patient, eternally hungry for those who dared to enter. Asterisk, the night was silent, the hill looming in the distance, shadows stretching long beneath the moonlight. Somewhere beyond, the house pulsed with life, waiting for the next curious soul to climb its steps and enter its endless story. Part 6, Key Points for Voice Generation, YTUs. Ravi's Aftermath, Haunted by Mana's Lingering Influence documentary. Series as warning Mana's subtle reach and tether remains with him. Hint of next explorers drawn to Mana, asterisk, suspenseful yet satisfying conclusion. Story ends, but Mana's mystery continues.